to the Northwest Adventure, and in today's episode we'll be digging for clams. Steamer clams, that is. So I've made it to Hawks Point, somewhere between mile marker 13 and 15 on Route 105. And if you haven't been clam digging in Tokeland, you better slap yourself. Alright, so before you leave the parking lot, listen closely for vehicles. They're flying. Speed limit's 50, some are doing 40, some are doing 70. So pay attention and keep it moving. So now that the chicken crossed the road, it's time to safely navigate our way down the rocks. Oofda. And I can say that. I'm from Ballard. Oh yeah, babe. Look at that. My shin cracked this boulder and it literally pieces crumbled. Crazy. Yep. So be safe, folks. These rocks are no joke. They're loose. So I'm going to find a better route on my way up. And we'll test them like I should and make sure they're not wobbly before I step on them. So yeah, folks, if I wasn't out here all the time walking on these rocks, I'd probably fall harder. All right, so let's get to the dig. So the question is, where are we going and what are we doing? Well, it's the low tide, so I'm heading closer to the water. I'll be cruising through the muck, and my goal is to get Manila, aka little neck clams. You can get 40 of them, but the minimum size must be 1.5 inches measured across the longest distance of the shell. Let me clear my throat. Now keep your eyes on the beach and look for the holes. When you saw only one set of footprints in the sand, it was then that I carried you. I heard that message so many years ago when I really needed to hear it the most. So maybe you did right now. Alright, I found a spot. Now it's time to start to do some digging. My tool of choice is a simple garden rake from Ace Hardware Store in Mukilteo, Washington. It's the perfect tool for getting through the muck. Back in my Kodiak, Alaska days, I used to watch the red foxes come out on a low tide and use their claws. They didn't need no rakes, yo. Weird. And what's so weird? The fact that I didn't touch any steamers at all. Didn't even hear a crunch. And we're not talking about the Captain Crunch. What we're talking about is when the rake sifts through. If there's any rocks, pebbles, oyster shells, steamer shells, you name it, you're going to hear a little clicking, kind of scraping sound. And so when you do that, that's when you drop to your knees, grab your Wolverine claws, and just start sifting through the sand. And you may even get lucky and pull out a clam or two. So when it comes to digging, how low do you go? Some folks say you go about 2 feet deep to find the clams. I typically find them somewhere around 4 to 6 inches. But I still will dig up to 2 feet if I'm striking out and not finding any clams. Nothing worthwhile so far. Nothing at all. While you were out, I scored a couple real quick. Not sure if you can see them well, but they're at 12 o'clock from my extra tufts. A little bit of raking, but that ain't bad. It's all in a day's work for the Northwest adventure. All right, let's get back to work. I've only got 2 clams. I've got 38 to go for my daily limit of 40 manila clams. All right, so we are going to measure these and see if they're legal. And this one here doesn't look too legal in my eyes, so we'll put it back. And we get this one, and it is not legal either. So that one goes back. And we got number 3. And this one here is right there. Hooah. So we got one. 1 of 3. All right. Got 39 more to go, I believe. Hooah. It's definitely time to check out another spot closer to the water. The tide is starting to rise, but I'm still going to head a little bit further to the surf. All right, let's try this area. So is there any particular spot that I'm looking for to begin digging? No, not really. You look for little holes in the ground, but the holes could be from many things. Worms, shrimp, birds, clams, probably a whole assortment of things that are subterranean. No termites here though, at least that I'm aware of, speaking of subterranean. Peep the product, Joe. People pay a lot of money for these. Here's the real shrimp. Boogaloo ain't got nothing on this guy. Going, gone. All right, let's stop playing around and get back to the big dig. And I'll be completely honest with you. Digging and raking for clams is not for everyone. If you've got a sore back or your hips are out of whack, you may want your kid to do the digging while you kick back and have a cool refreshment. Believe that. However, if you're somewhat physically fit, this is one hell of a great workout. And if you're digging up the clams, it's quite rewarding. When you get home, steam them up, sit down, and have another cool refreshment. Check out how far I've sunk into the muck by standing here digging holes. And here's the pro tip you've been waiting for all day. Do not wear low-top tennis shoes, because when you do sink in the muck, when you pull your feet up, you'll lose your shoes. Yes, that's happened to me probably when I was about 11 years old. So ever since then, I've worn boots, or depending on how warm it is outside, I just wear shorts and I'm barefoot. All right, folks, I think I may have hit the jackpot, but we'll let you decide. Nice. And like I mentioned earlier before, digging for clams ain't for everybody, but eating clams might be. So it's one of these type of jobs you do when you got some time on your hands. You don't mind breathing the fresh air from Willapa Bay and just getting away from it all. As you notice, you don't see many people at all on this beach. And yes, clam season is open. There were other people, but they were further up to milepost number 15 or numero 15. Odelay.
Alright, so it's a big old hole, but it's paying off.
I just got 3 more keepers. Yeah. And back to the grind it is. So when you're out here, make sure you bring water or something to drink. Because yeah, you're going to get hot, you're going to get sweaty, you're going to get hungry, maybe even a bit frustrated if you're not pulling them out as quickly as you'd like to. But whatever you do, don't give up. And no, I didn't give up. I just went back to the truck to get one of those cold refreshments.
Cool.
Yeah, I've been here for a while. Hold up. Hey, listen, and not to the automobile in the background. Hear that? That's the sound of a steamer clam.
Cool. Nice. Sometimes there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. You get the picture.
All right, I'm finally in the clams. So yeah, it's starting to get good and it's paying off. And remember, folks, this stuff gets like quicksand, so pay attention when you're out here. So I've been here for a while now, and it's time to wrap things up. I want to get to Tokeland and drop some pots in the water. But first, I must unstuck myself.
Alright, so here's the bounty in this pile. And we got some more over there. I left a little trace, but not too much. Heavy, especially after a long day of living. Not sure what you've been doing, but I've been living. This is cool. An island. Then the rake came along. Yep, stuff starts to be like quicksand, folks. So pay attention when you're out here, and don't stick around all night like I do and hang out as the tide is rising. It's a good time to get your gear and head back to the vehicle. Or the bus. I guess that's a vehicle too. Anybody subwaying it and checking out these videos? If you are, let me know in the comments. One of my homie dudes just arrived in Brooklyn. Sounds pretty excited as he's talking about it on IG, posting photos of the bridge. Yeah. All right. So make sure you wear the right type of shoes when you come out here, or you'd probably even be fine being barefoot. There's not really any rocks here until you get to the highway. I'm wearing extra tufts, and they do the job pretty good out here. But whatever shoe or boot you wear is going to get stuck in the sand. And you're gonna have to work your leg out. Yep, hell of a workout, but I love it here. No place funner for me right now in 2021.
Here's a quick look at the clams I was able to dig out of Willapa Bay. So if you're bored, you got nothing to do, let's go clamming. But remember this, raw clams can make you sick. Signing out for now, it's the Northwest Adventure.